1 o'clock. Straight after the news from Newsbeat now at 1:45 with Chris Smith.
Digital FM online.
This is BBC Radio 1.
It's day 12 of the hunt for Joe Yates' killer.
And as the investigation goes on, we speak to people living here in Bristol.
All the girls that work in the shop are getting taxis home, and I'm parking right next to work as close as I possibly can.
This is Newsbeat's Adina Campbell. All the latest from here on the way.
Newsbeat.
We hear from people struggling to find a place to live as the demand for rental properties hits a record high.
We're just going through like sheets and sheets of flats that we picked up from letting agents and browsing around the internet for hours. We stopped looking for a while because we got fed up.
Plus, it's going from bad to worse for a few Premier League managers.
Hodgson, Grant, Ancelotti, Houllier. Who's going to go? This is Newsbeat's Rick Kelsey down the bookies. My money's got to be on Hodgson. The fans don't like him. Seems like he's lost the dressing room. Liverpool are not playing well at the moment.
And Simon will have the rest of the sport.
England's cricketers just 3 wickets away from their best moment down under since the mid-80s, and there's some disappointing news for boxing fans.
BBC Radio 1.
Newsbeat.
We're heading to Bristol first this lunchtime for the latest from police there as they look for the killer of Joe Yates. Detectives are trying to reassure people they will catch whoever murdered the landscape architect. It's been 12 days since the 25-year-old's body was found in a country lane on Christmas Day morning. She'd been strangled. Newsbeat's Adina Campbell is in Clifton, where Joe lived.
Speaking to Jamie on her way into work this morning, she's worried police aren't giving people like her enough advice.
I'm feeling a little bit insecure. It's a little bit scary walking around at night on our own, but we haven't had any information from the police, so we're not sure if it's safe or not.
She works in a clothes shop across the road from Waitrose, where Joe was seen on CCTV footage.
I think they should be doing more, especially as the shops, it's mostly women that work here, mostly women that work in retail, and we haven't had any information.
As more days pass since Joe's body was discovered near a golf course here, there's been increasing pressure on police to find her killer.
They're doing their best. They're obviously doing all they can. That's all anyone can ask of them. Obviously, when there's no results, people get frustrated because people are scared.
Jess is 18 and studies here at college.
I feel much safer when I'm cycling. I probably wouldn't walk as much as I usually do at night time. I would take my bike instead. I feel less nervous on a bike.
Detectives say they're confident they will find whoever murdered Joe Yates. They're still trying to track down a grey sock Joe was missing when her body was found. More than 250,000 people have now clicked on the Facebook ad, which is trying to encourage anyone who may have information to contact them. Here's Chief Superintendent John Stratford.
We've got well over 70 officers and police staff dedicated towards it. There's lots of lines of inquiry. The investigation team are meticulously following every single one, which is why we just ask people to be patient.
Hi, I'm Samantha. I'm 19 and I go to college in Clifton. When it's really close to you, it gets even more terrifying. Plus, my mum is overprotective as it is, so now she's just terrified of me ever going out, considering that I work in a nightclub in town.
Sam also reckons police are doing all they can, but that hasn't stopped her taking extra precautions.
Before, I would possibly leave work and then bring my mum or something for a lift, whereas now I wait there until I know she's there, or I get a lift from my friends. I never walk around by myself.
Newsbeat.
This
is BBC
Radio 1's
Newsbeat.
Sleeping on a friend's sofa, moving back in with mum and dad, or paying over the odds for somewhere you don't even like. People trying to rent a place to live are facing big problems at the moment. Letting agents say there's a record shortage of properties. Here's the full story from Newsbeat's Jean McKenzie.
Hiya, come in.
It's taken Zoe 9 months of searching to find this 2-bedroom flat in Wolverhampton.
This is my room. It's really big. I'm really happy with it. I can fit everything in.
She fell out with her last housemates and wanted to leave.
I thought I'd find somewhere straight away. And I was looking and looking and there was just nothing available.
The Association of Residential Letting Agents says the demand for places to rent is at the highest it's seen. It says 3/4 of its agents have a shortage of properties. That's up from just a quarter last year. Zoe eventually had to move back in with her parents while she looked.
Most of the flats that we saw on the pictures, they seemed nice, and then when we went to see them, they were all grotty and horrible. And then when we found some that looked promising, we rang up to go and view them, and they'd already been gone.
Arla says often tenants are being forced to take places with very high rent or settle for somewhere they don't actually want to live. New research out today also shows the number of people paying rent on their credit card has shot up over the past year. 10 minutes out of the town centre, letting agent Dawn is trying to rent out a room in a house.
Okay, this is the living room. Obviously, it is a little bit small, but it's very cosy.
The agent she works for has such a shortage of places, it's started to offer house shares.
This is normally a student market. You know, we've got all types of professionals that you wouldn't expect to live in a house share. They just have no choice.
I'm Roop. I'm a private landlord. These times are fantastic for landlords. We're loving it. All my properties are let. Can be a little bit choosy on the rents.
There are now fears that in this market, tenants could be exploited by independent landlords trying to cash in.
You may get the odd unprofessional landlord that may rip tenants off, but majority of the landlords out there, they all act professionally.
But tenants are being advised to know their rights before flat hunting.
A lot of them are sleeping on friends' couches, are having to move back to their mums, and there's just nothing available at the moment.